Proxemics are simply the management of physical space, management of the open space in a room. And it's the idea that based on some of the other elements that we've talked about, you have to make decisions about how to maximize the use of space. So for instance, in the group that I'm going to be working with in a couple of weeks, they're going to have 100 or so people. We've got to figure out what's the best way we can utilize space so that I can make the best connection with 100 people. So for instance, what I don't want to happen is I do not want to see rows set up lecture style, which basically says the person is a talking head and none of us get to do anything the whole time. I hate that style. I recognize that sometimes you have to have that style. If you have 500 people and the room won't operate in any other way than setting up a lecture style, okay, you got to do what you got to do. But my suggestion is always to think about what can we do that creates an opportunity to facilitate the expectation of two-way dialogue, facilitates the expectation of involvement, facilitates the expectation of active learning. Because if people come and they sit and they're sitting this way, and the next person there is sitting this way, and the next person there is sitting this way, and the people behind them, and we're all facing forward, the expectation is not any of what I just said. The expectation is that person at the front of the room is going to do all the talking, and we're going to do all the listening, and that's the nature of our relationship. And so you really want to think through the physical setup. And one of the things I suggest as meeting planners is as you work with the people that are running the meetings, is you think about what your objective of the process is, of the meeting is. Is there an educational component? Is there a speaker? And if that's the case, really work with that person to figure out, based on space requirements, what's the most effective thing that we can do. Now this worked out, for example, beautifully. I love this. I can engage this group. I can engage this group. I can engage this group. One of the things that you've noticed is that if you were here back in November, I talk a lot about eye contact, and I've made eye contact with every single person in this room multiple times. I've been able to actually square myself up with each of the groups over a period of time. So this has worked out beautifully. The only negative part in terms of the proxemics of this room is this thing really annoys the heck out of me. I keep wanting to kick this thing over. I'm like, you know, this needs to go on the ceiling kind of thing. I'm not criticizing. It's a beautiful facility. I love this. My wife and I are going to have another wedding here. I mean, this is just so nice. We're going to come back here for our 20th wedding anniversary. We're going to renew our vows here. But that's the one thing that I don't like about this, because as you recall, I talked 3 months ago, or back in November, I talked about the idea of this being a physical barrier. So this is something of a barrier between me and this particular group. But we're close enough that we can still connect, that we can still interact. So you all did a great job setting this up, by the way. You did a very nice job. Okay, that's proxemics.